Hello. How you doing? I'm ready for the show. It's light out. I'm not. No overhead lights. I just have this. Yeah, turn this way. Oh, right there. There's the spot right there. And three, two, one. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. Well, I hope you had a great Tuesday, and I hope Wednesday is even better because mine was. I had a moderately productive Tuesday. I'm, through all this stuff, right? If you've been watching the show, you know that I, like many people, have been struggling is too strong a word. I haven't been the most productive. It's been challenging, especially on days like today when you wake up and there's snow on the ground again. It's April 22nd. Mother Nature, we're done. We're done with this. Go away. Go away with the snow. We got enough to deal with. I wanted to go outside today. And maybe I still will, but we'll see how warm it gets. Hey, Google.
In Moortown today,
there it goes.
there will be snow showers with a forecasted
Snow.
high of 36 and a low of
And a
23.
high of 36. Doesn't look
Right
like I'm
now it's
going.
26 and cloudy.
Doesn't look like I'm going for a walk or out on the bike. I mean, I could, but I won't. I wanted to, but that's okay. I'll get movement walking around my house. What else is going on? Working on learning some new video editing software. It's got a steeper learning curve than everyone promised me. It's one of those things, like once you know how to do something, oh, it's really easy. What about before you knew how to do it? It was really hard. And that's where I'm at. That's okay. I will figure it out because I consider myself a smart person who can figure things out. So I will figure it out. Just need to spend some time with it. Coffee's good. Anything else happened yesterday? No. Spent more time on the speed program. Hoping to spend more time on that this morning. Just chip away at that. And I'd like to see that out by June 1st. I think we can do that. It seems a little aggressive, but once I finish the calendar of training, it should be fairly straightforward from there. And that's what I'm working on now. I did a couple weeks of the programming yesterday. I'll do a couple more this morning. And once we get through that, easy. Easy. Easy's not the right word, but straightforward. I'm in the hard part right now. Anything else going on today? We're gonna try and get some cat food. We're running low on cat food. I'm gonna try and get some cat food for the snoring furball over there. She was snoring for like 10 minutes. It's really quiet, but you can hear it when everything's still. And if you have a cat, I don't know if your cat snores. I don't know that that's a normal cat thing to snore, but this one does. Yeah, she's still snoring. Sometimes, if it's really quiet and she's snoring particularly loudly, I can hear her from the other side of the house. Just this little kind of trembly, nasally roll. Yeah. Well, let's see what we got for questions and comments. Remember, if you want to ask me something, you want me to respond to something, just drop it below and I'll talk about it tomorrow. We got three Benjamin Franklin quotes here, courtesy of Frank. Thank you, Frank. Make yourself sheep and the wolves will eat you. There's not a whole lot to interpret about that one, right? If you allow yourself or condition yourself to be subservient, you will serve. If you don't look out for your own interests, someone will look out for theirs and possibly step on you. And there's a lot of ways that we can interpret that, but they all come down to roughly the same thing. There are a lot of people who are content being sheep, and I don't make that as a political statement. It can be, but that's not how I'm meaning it in this case. A lot of people just like to go about their business, and they don't want to have to worry about things. And anyone who's ever tried to launch a self-defense program or teach a self-defense seminar knows how challenging that can be, because people don't want to admit that there could be a problem. In order to get someone to sign up for a self-defense program, this is one of the benefits of teaching martial arts, is something more than self-defense. Martial arts can be so much more. If all you teach is, we're going to protect you from violent attackers, I would say the majority of the population thinks it is unlikely to happen to them. I have no data to back that up, but that's just based on my personal interactions throughout life. Most people understand that there are sheep and wolves out there, but it doesn't apply to them. That's my guess on how that would go down in a survey. Next. Common sense is something that everyone needs. Few have, and none think they lack. I would agree wholeheartedly. Benjamin Franklin was a pretty smart guy, and it seems like a lot of what he said can carry over to today. It doesn't take much time on social media to see people that seem to lack what most of us would define as common sense. But here's the thing. We all define it differently. Our experience and the way that it manifests is different. And that's okay. Oh, I'm really sick of people thinking that their way is the only right way, and it drives me nuts. And it happens in martial arts, out of martial arts. It is part of life at every level. And guess what? No. Because what is right is based on so many factors, including your goals and your upbringing and your genetics. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm not going to go into it. But what is common sense? It is understanding how to conduct yourself based on experience living in the world. Most people, I don't know if I'm going to say most, many people refuse to learn from their mistakes. They refuse to observe others. They live in their own bubble. I think the most important skill that I developed as a kid was the ability to watch what other people were doing. And I had to, because I wasn't allowed to participate in anything. Nobody let me. I was the short, nerdy karate kid, and nobody wanted to hang out with me. So I would observe. I learned to observe. I learned what all these people were doing, how they were doing it, and that skill set, being able to see what's going on and connect dots, has served me really well. That's common sense, right? Common sense is nothing more than applied experience or applied knowledge. If you walk down the street and you see someone crossing, let's say you see someone crossing a street when the don't walk sign is going, there are three ways you can handle that, or that there are three ways someone could approach that situation. You could look and see, hey, that person's crossing, I'm just going to cross too. You could make a decision for yourself and look and see, what's the chance I'm going to get hit by a car? I don't see any cars coming, regardless of the lights. I'm going to quickly move across. Or you could just stop and not cross because it's you don't want to jaywalk. One of those three has a chance for injury. One of those three happens to be the same one. Two of those three carry a chance for getting a ticket from a police officer for breaking the law. Good morning, Nish. Common sense is applied knowledge. Don't be afraid to apply it. Don't be afraid to teach that. I think there's a whole subset of drills that we could teach in martial arts about what's going on, how to observe, and you could tie them into self-defense, but just the ability to see what's happening. Teaching people to truly see and remember. If you have kids, get them to, there's a game that you can play in the car. I just saw something that was purple. Yeah, you could use cars, but that's silly. So then the kid's got to remember what might you have seen on the side of the road that was purple. And it gets the kid paying attention and remembering, observing. It's a really important skill. You can't just keep your head down and expect others to take care of everything. Last one. The best doctor gives the least medicines. Anybody who knows my feeling on medicine, modern medical care, knows that lines up pretty well with me. I'm not a big fan of pills. I'm not a big fan of addressing symptoms. It's probably a better way to express it. If you're chronically tired and need 18 cups of coffee to get through the day, maybe you figure out why you're so tired. Is it the quality of your sleep? Is it the amount of sleep? There are lots of ways to address that. We live in a society that prefers to address symptoms instead of root causes. How far do you progress in martial arts if your root causes, your stances, stink? You kick something and fall over, that's not effective. You have to learn to address the core elements of what you do, how you do, right? You've probably seen someone, maybe you even were someone who got, maybe to middle or higher ranks and realized, hey, the way you're doing this technique isn't right. We've got to take you back down to zero on that and really start over with it. You've got to relearn it. It's not good. It can be really frustrating. A large portion of the population would say, forget that. I don't want to do that. Or can I take a pill, right? That's our approach to a lot of things. It doesn't work in martial arts. There's no martial arts pill. I guess the closest thing to a pill would be an instructor with lower standards. With all three of these, there are really easy ways that I could take a very small step and discuss what's going on currently with regard to COVID-19 and politics and the pain that it's causing people. And I'm not going to do that. That's not how I do things. And if that's something that's important to you, I would encourage you to check out these quotes and sit with them and think about how they apply to what's going on today. Think about the medicine both literally and figuratively. There's a line being thrown around. Don't make the medicine worse than the disease, right? You could consider that as it applies to our quote today, or rather all of our quotes today. My goal for this show, my goal for everything we do at Whistlekick is to get you to think. I want you to think. I want you to think about who you are as a martial artist. I want you to think about your place in the world, your training. And most of us are stuck inside. Most of us have more free time than we did. And thinking about who you are and who you want to be now and into the future, it's important. It's worth your time. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And you could do that in a very selfish way, to me, right? You could buy our strength and conditioning program, or you could read a book, or you could drop in on one of the bajillion Zoom classes going on right now. You know what you know what would be fun, but I don't think we would get the support to do it. What I would love to do is to just throw together a calendar of all the Zoom classes people could join. That would be really fun. But I don't think that's going to work out as well as I would want it to, because most classes are being taught to people who are part of that curriculum and know stuff, right? There's a foundation there that they can, But some of them, like this Friday, there's a Superfoot seminar happening virtually. I think it's $15 if you find Superfoot on Facebook. You'll see it. I have to look at the time again. I don't know if I'll be able to attend. I have another meeting, but I'm gonna try. Right? There are options. There are ways that you can get better. There are times to sit and there are times to grow. Plants do this, animals do this. Maybe we're done growing physically, but it doesn't mean we can't grow emotionally. We can grow spiritually, we can grow mentally. We always have the opportunity to get better. And don't be afraid to put in the time. It's worth it. Nobody's ever said, man, I wish I hadn't spent the time learning. I've never heard anyone say that. I've heard people say, I wish I hadn't gone to college for that. But that's different. That's not the education. Education is always worthwhile. Find something you're interested in. Get better. I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm learning this video editing software. Could I get it done with the cheap, really easy video software that I've been using for 10 years? Yeah, I could. Is it going to be as good? No. It's worth putting in the time. It's worth getting better. In this case, it means every video project we do at Whistlekick will be better because I'll have skills that I did not have. If I want to grow this company, I have to grow with it. And with that, remember, we do this show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. Catch it later here on YouTube. Find the audio in your podcast app. Go to firstcupwithjeremy.com, whatever it is. Ask questions, leave comments. This show is better with more people leaving questions and comments. There are several of you watching right now. I'm going to challenge all of you, once the show is done, for you to leave a question or a comment. I would love to answer a question or comment from 3 or 4 different people tomorrow. That would really make my Thursday. It'd be great. If you haven't subscribed and turned on notifications, please do. Makes it easier to join the show. I leave a 30-second buffer at the beginning every time to make sure that you get that notice and you can pop right on. And if you're watching live, don't be afraid to engage and ask questions. I will respond. So, I hope you have a phenomenal day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.